Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive.
Hello.
We're jumping straight into something pretty significant today, based on the source material you shared. A recent and, well, deeply concerning event out of Cape Town.
Yes, the murder of Andre Naude. And we're really focusing here on extracting the key info, the reported facts from that Daily Maverick article you sent.
Exactly. Our mission, really, is to understand, who Andre Naude was, what the source says about how he died, and what this event might tell us when you put it together with the other details in the piece.
And right off the bat, the article hits you with something quite striking, a really dramatic fact.
Yeah.
According to the reporting, Andre Naude is, believe it or not, the fifth accused person in one specific murder case, the killing of Brian Weinstein, the steroid king, who's now been killed after that original crime.
The fifth accused from that single case. Wow, that pattern right at the start of the article, you just can't ignore it.
No.
And the source quickly mentions his connections too, doesn't it? People like Mark Liffman, Jerome Booysen, names you might recognize if you follow this stuff. It paints a picture of a very interconnected world, at least as reported.
Definitely. So let's start with the incident itself, how the source lays it out. The article reports Naude was killed in Goodwood, Cape Town, Thursday, June 12, 2025.
Right, and the police details quoted are quite specific. Happened around 2:40 p.m. for Trucker Road. Says a vehicle pulled up next to Naude. He was apparently with three other men, and then shots were fired from inside that car.
And the result, tragically, according to the report, a 55-year-old man, identified by sources in the article as Naude, was killed.
And someone else was hit too.
Yeah, a 61-year-old man with him was wounded, taken to hospital. The article suggests this might have been his bodyguard,
Okay.
and two other men, 45 and 54, apparently got away unharmed.
And arrests. The article said none had been made when it was published,
Yeah.
right? Police still looking into the motive.
Correct. It also notes Jerome Donkey Booysen turned up at the scene afterwards.
The source points out Booysen has faced charges alongside Naude and Liffman before.
Yes, and quotes him telling News 24 he was, quote, shocked.
Okay, so moving beyond just the shooting, the source gives us some background on Naude himself. Crucial context, really.
It does. It mentions he'd reportedly been targeted before, even expressed concerns about his own safety.
Yeah, I saw that. The article digs a bit into his past, references a book, The Enforcers, says he was involved in the bouncer scene since the early 90s.
That's right. Describes him as tall, sometimes called the family guy, muscular arms. Worked in personal protection, too. Apparently even for international celebrities at one point.
And the source mentions specific past incidents, underscores the danger,
Absolutely. Like in 2019, reports suggested he thought he was a target in a shooting. But it goes back further, too. 2014, he was actually wounded then in Belleville.
Oh, right, the 2014 incident. The source was specific there, him and Jan Norchi, the fighter.
Yeah, the giant Norge, yeah. They were shot in a parking lot, Eastwood's Entertainment Lounge.
Naude was shot in the legs. And he claimed, according to the article, that one was over an argument about a woman. Interesting detail.
It is. The article also touches on how careful he apparently was because of safety fears, referencing an interview where he talked about avoiding even rolling down his car window at, like, mall booms.
Yeah.
Because of the risk.
That level of, well, vigilance. It really says something about the world he was moving in, as the source describes it.
It really does.
And the article draws a very clear line connecting Naude to Mark Liffman. It even quotes Naude from years ago, around 2012.
What do you say?
Called Liffman a very good friend and a very good person.
And that connection is just absolutely central here. Because, as the article points out, Naude's murder follows Liffman's own killing just 7 months earlier.
November 2024, Liffman was killed in Georgia.
And the source mentions arrests in Liffman's case suspects reportedly tied to private security.
And this is where that steroid king case comes looping back in, tying Naude and Liffman together so directly. The source is clear. When they were killed, both Naude and Liffman were facing trial for killing Brian Weinstein.
Brian Weinstein, described in the article as this international steroid smuggler wanted over in the U.S.
Right. Shot dead in his bed, Constantia home, back in August 2017.
So yeah, both Naude, both Liffman accused in that same Weinstein killing. And like we said up front, the article really hammers this home. Naude is now the fifth accused from that specific case to be killed since Weinstein died.
It's just, yeah. And the source actually names the other three, doesn't it? The ones killed before Naude and Liffman.
It does. William Red Stevens, shot in Kryfontaine 2021, apparently just a week before a court date for the Weinstein case. Then Anthony Amir Vanderwatt, killed in retreat October 2022, and Jason Mates, murdered outside a house in Mitchell's Plain, March 2021.
That list, laid out like that in the article, it really drives home the pattern the source is highlighting. Multiple people, all accused in one case, meeting violent ends after the original 2017 murder.
Yeah. And the source links all this to that wider conflict, the one going on in Cape Town's nightclub security scene.
Right. It points out Naude and Liffman were deep in that world. They'd faced charges together before, with Booysen too, remember, back around 2011, 2012, related to a security company.
They were cleared in that instance, the article notes. But then it talks about no-fees Modak.
Yeah, the alleged attempt to take over bouncer operations in 2017 from what investigators apparently called the Liffman Group.
And according to the source, that alleged takeover attempt is what reportedly sparked clashes between this Modak group and the Liffman Group, leading to violence in the city from 2017 onwards.
And Naude, being in that bouncer game since the 90s, he clearly had a very long history right in the middle of that volatile scene based on the article.
No question. It seems clear from how the source pieces it together, Naude's killing isn't seen as just, random. It appears linked to these ongoing conflicts, these legal issues, all within that specific world of organized crime and security in Cape Town.
The article even mentions Naude apparently believed proxies were a big thing.
Yeah.
People acting for others, hiding who was really pulling the strings.
And it adds another layer, doesn't it?
It really does. What's quite compelling about this article is how it weaves it all together. Naude's own history, his close ties to Liffman.
Their shared past with charges over the security business.
And then critically, that shared status as accused men in the Weinstein case, both now killed.
Yeah, the source paints, a pretty stark picture, a dangerous environment, especially if you're connected to that specific murder case or those wider security battles it describes.
Okay, so let's just quickly recap the main points, the core reported facts and connections we've pulled from the source material you gave us.
Sounds good.
We covered the details of Andre Naude's murder itself. Shot from a car, Voortrekker Road, Goodwood, June 12th. Others there, one wounded.
We talked about his close link and shared history with Mark Liffman, who was murdered just months before him.
And we connected both of them, based on the article's reporting, directly to the Brian Weinstein, the Steroid King murder case. They were both accused in it.
And we really highlighted that central striking fact from the article. Naude is the fifth accused in that case to be killed since Weinstein's murder in 2017. We even listed the others, the source name.
Stevens, Vanderwatt, Mates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The source also ties these events directly to that wider conflict in Cape Town's nightclub security scene. It talks about this rivalry between groups reportedly labeled the Liffman Group and the Modak Group.
And it noted Naude's long history in that whole arena and the fact he'd reportedly been shot at before. Right. And just to be clear, again, this whole deep dive, everything we've discussed, is based only on the information presented in that specific Daily Maverick article you provided. Yeah. We're just extracting what's reported there.
Exactly. Sticking to the source.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting, and this is something for you, the listener, to mull over.
Yeah.
Based purely on the pattern that this source highlights, multiple people accused in the same case being killed after the original crime.
Yeah.
What does that sequence of events, as it's laid out in the article, actually suggest? What might it imply about the forces at work here or, the potential risks for anyone else still connected, either to this specific case or to those security industry conflicts the article describes? What kind of dynamics, based only on the information in this piece, could possibly lead to such a persistent, deadly pattern?
It's a sequence that definitely leaves you thinking.
Yeah.
Thinking about the underlying currents and the dangers in that world, strictly based on what's reported.
Absolutely. It's given us a lot to consider. Thanks for bringing the source to us for the deep dive today.
You're welcome. Always interesting to unpack these things.